Hello, an extremely warm welcome to the YouTube channel Undoubting God, where I share evidence for God, defend Christianity, and discuss issues related to the Christian faith. In this video, we're going to unpack the statement that Jesus made, "Before Abraham was, I am," and explain why that is a direct claim Jesus made to be God. Now, before we delve into the topic and analyze the verse, the I am statement, I want to give a bit of background information to help you to understand the context. Throughout Jesus' ministry, there was a lot of conflict between Jesus and especially the religious leaders, most notably the Pharisees. Jesus often made, shall we say, inflammatory statements about the leaders, such as calling them liars, brood of vipers, even calling them sons of the devil. So there is this conflict, these tensions that are building between Jesus and the religious leaders. Now, even today, but certainly back then, the countries around the Middle East are very much collectivist in nature. Western countries are typically much more individual, but collectivist cultures, the primary focus really is honor and shame. It's a virtue if you don't bring shame on you, your family, your community, and any groups that you are associated with. So it's with that in mind that Jesus is continually clashing and winning, in public against the Pharisees, who are continually losing faith. We see many times they try to trap Jesus, but Jesus can always kind of flip the tables and make them out to look bad. Therefore, it's no surprise that the Pharisees wanted to get their own back on Jesus for making them lose face in public and be humiliated and shamed many, many times. So, with that in mind, let's delve into the text. Verses 31 to 38. Jesus said to the people who believed in him, "You are truly my disciples if you remain faithful to my teachings, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." "But we are descendants of Abraham," they said. "We have never been slaves to anyone. What do you mean you will be set free?" Jesus replied, "I tell you the truth. Everyone who sins is a slave of sin. A slave is not a permanent member of the family, but a son is part of the family forever. So if the Son sets you free, you are truly free. Yes, I realize that you are descendants of Abraham, and yet some of you are trying to kill me because there's no room in your hearts for my message. I am telling you what I saw when I was with my Father, but you are following the advice of your father." In response to Jesus, the Pharisees declare, "Our Abraham is our father. We are sons of Abraham." But then Jesus replied, "If you were truly the sons of Abraham, you would follow what Abraham did. Abraham followed God, and it was counted as righteousness." But instead, the Pharisees are trying to kill Jesus just because Jesus told the truth. So it's quite interesting how there's a contrast. And then Jesus actually says, "You are sons of your father," implying they are not sons of God, but sons of Satan. Now, the Pharisees probably indignantly replied, "We are not illegitimate children. We are children of God himself." Now, let's look at John 8, verses 42 to 47 to see how Jesus responds. Jesus told them, "If God were your father, you would love me, because I have come to you from God. I am not here on my own, but he sent me. Why can't you understand what I'm saying? It's because you can't even hear me. For you are the children of your father the devil, and you love to do the evil things he does. He was a murderer from the beginning. He has always hated the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he lies, it is consistent with his character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. So when I tell you the truth, you just naturally don't believe me. Which of you can truthfully accuse me of sin? And since I'm telling you the truth, why don't you believe me? Anyone who belongs to God listens gladly to the words of God. But you don't listen because you don't belong to God. Wow, Jesus certainly didn't hold back any punches when he called the Pharisees children of the devil. Now let's look how the rest of this chapter ends, and we're going to look at the statement, before Abraham was, I am. So verse 52 says, the people said, now we know you are possessed by a demon. Even Abraham and the prophets died, but you say, anyone who obeys my teachings will never die. Are you greater than our father Abraham? He died, and so did the prophets. Who do you think you are? Jesus answered, if I want glory for myself, it doesn't count. But it is my Father who will glorify me. You say he is our God, but you don't even know him. If I said otherwise, I would be as great a liar as you. But I do know him, and I obey him. Your father Abraham rejoiced as he looked forward to my coming. He saw it and was glad. Then the people said, you aren't even 50 years old. How can you say you've seen Abraham? And this is the explosive statement that Jesus makes. Jesus answered, I tell you the truth. Some translations say, verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was born, I am. At that point, they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jesus was hidden from them and left the temple. This final point that Jesus makes sends them into a frenzy. In fact, they want to kill him. They want to pick up stones to kill him. Why? To understand this, as I already mentioned, there was conflict, there was tension between Jesus and the leaders. They had been humiliated, they had lost face many, many times. So there was a certain amount of revenge they wanted to get, which could partly explain why they wanted to kill him. But it's actually the statement, before Abraham was born, I am. This is what sends them over the edge. Because if we go back to the book of Leviticus, in the Old Testament, I think it's chapter 24, there is a case of, there's the son of an Israelite woman and the son of an Egyptian father. So it was a mixed marriage, an Israelite and Egyptian. And this son ended up cursing and blaspheming the name of the Lord. And this son was held custody until the will of the Lord could be established. And then God said to the whole congregation, all the people, not just to a small number, but to all of the community, he said that anybody who curses the name of the Lord, anybody who blasphemes against the name of the Lord, and it's not just cursing, but also claiming to be God, if it's any kind of blasphemy, then that person should be killed. And not just by one person, but all the people who witnessed have to put the hand on the person, and then the entire community have to stone them. So this is a way to kind of like, I guess, prevent mob culture, mob mentality, like revenge. Everybody has to be a witness. God has to be called, and then everybody has to take part in the stoning. So that's why they wanted to stone him to death, because he was claiming to be God. They thought he was blaspheming. They couldn't understand that all his miracles, all of his claims to be the Son of Man, the human, divine figure, they couldn't connect the dots that miracles and claims to be God should actually lead you to believe that he is God. So that's interesting. Now, let's look at it in a little bit more detail. So we know they thought he was claiming to be God, but why is a statement, I am, why was that so incendiary to them? Why did they think that statement, Jesus was claiming to be God? Well, we need to go back to the book of Exodus chapter 3. Now, at this point in Israel's history, they hadn't been into a fully fledged nation yet. God's people had been in bondage in Egypt for centuries, maybe up to 400 years. And it was that point in history where God had decided to bring out his people from Israel, from Egypt, and then to punish the gods of Egypt. And the chapter 3 starts off with Moses. He was tending his flocks and he saw a bush that was on fire, but it wasn't, being burned out. It was continually burning. So anyway, he goes to have a look. Then from within the bush, God calls him. And he said, look, I'm going to use you and I'm going to free my people. And then there's a bit of back and forth. Moses is like, oh, I don't know. But he kind of gets on board and he says, well, who are you? When I go back to my people, what should I call you? Who should I say that you are? And this is when Yahweh, God himself, is, I am who I am. Tell the people of Israel, or tell your people, I am has sent you. So this is the personal name of Yahweh. And this I am it kind of takes on the meaning in modern day of like, I am existence itself. I am the being through which all beings can be. It's kind of a very complex kind of idea. I am. So clearly, Jesus is taking that divine name and title, a personal name, saying, I am Yahweh. I was the one who called out my people from Egypt. I was the one who met Abraham. I am the one who've been acting throughout Israel's history. I am Yahweh. So it's clear here that they knew exactly what he was saying. It wasn't just because they'd been, humiliated, lost face, although they had for sure. It was because he was making a claim to literally be Yahweh, the Holy One, the God of Israel. So, to conclude, Jesus made direct claims throughout his ministry on earth as the incarnate man to be God. He claimed to be the Son of Man, the human divine messianic figure in Daniel chapter 7. He claimed to be the God of Abraham, the God of Moses. He said that before Abraham was, I am, indicating that he pre-existed before Abraham. And he was there when Abraham saw that it was good. What do you think? Who do you think Jesus is? Do you think that Jesus was just a prophet, just a rabbi, a teacher? Or do you think that Jesus is God? Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, share the video, and please, I would appreciate your comments down below. And remember, faith is not fairy tales and God is real.